popular Valley restaurant has some explaining to do after they were hit with 8 health code violations. Here's Jason Berry with tonight's all-new Dirty Dining Report.
Cheese kept past its discard date, an employee chewing gum, then handling clean dishes. That's just a taste of the violations inspectors uncovered at Valley restaurants this week.
Bosa Donuts on Glendale Avenue near Litchfield Road in Glendale. 3 major health code violations. No log for when ham and cheese croissants were made. Boba tapioca balls not stored correctly. Scented bleach used to clean dishware. Well seasoned near 5th Avenue and Drinkwater in Scottsdale. 3 violations. Raw eggs stored above ready-to-eat foods. Dishes not sanitized correctly. Cooked oxtail out of temperature. Zoo and Pocha on Apache Boulevard off Terrace in Tempe. 3 violations. Raw fish stored over cooked eel. Cheese and cabbage kept past their discard dates. Hot water not hot enough. Chutney's Indian Express at Apache Road and Rural in Tempe. 4 violations. An employee put gum in his mouth, then handled clean dishes. Bowls not cleaned correctly. Curry and butter not kept hot enough. Pesticides stored near clean dishes. And the place with the most health code violations? Ono Hawaiian Barbecue at Power Road and Ray and Mesa. 8 major violations.
Ono Hawaiian Barbecue had no certified food manager on duty. A staff member not washing his hands properly. A cook handling chicken, then not washing up. Excess food debris on cutting boards. Coconuts stored under raw beef and chicken. Short ribs not held at the proper temperature. And slaw mix and Spam not kept cold enough. The restaurant is now on notice to clean up or could be closed down. Jason Berry for Arizona's Family.
All right, you heard the bad, here's the good. Here are the restaurants getting perfect health inspection scores, making this week's Dean list. We've got Dutch Bros Coffee at Southern and Alma School in Mesa, Iron Chef at Tatum and Shea in Phoenix, Henry and Soul at McDowell Mountain Road and Forest Road in Rio Verde. And then moving on, we've got Scott's Generations at 7th Street and Glendale in Phoenix, Flower Child at Santan Village and Williams Field Road in Gilbert, and The Melting Pot at 95th Avenue and Utopia in Glendale.